morning, everyone.
Hi.
Morning.
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 Hey, Sylvia. Hi, Valerie. Hi, Gwen.
Good morning. No, it's afternoon here.
Oh, all right. Just because you live in New Zealand. A couple of the things that you're going to be doing today. We're not actually going to be making this quilt, but as you can see, it's got our beautiful appliques. In the applique pack is, as you can see, some really cute little thingies. You also get 3 little camels because, you know, there's not much of use having one. So all these little appliques come in our applique pack. As you know, all of our appliques are pre-visor fixed, so you can just peel them off, iron them down, and quickly whip around the outside with a zigzag stitch. This kit, I don't actually have the kits, but I will actually put up the instructions for the quilt so you can make that. That's a little free gift for everybody. But if you want one of the applique packs, we'll talk about that a little later on. What we're going to be doing today is our Christmas tree mats. So these little things here, as you can see on the screen, are Christmas trees, but you actually put 6 together to make a centerpiece, and then everybody takes one. You can also make them smaller to make them into card holders, you know, like when you want to give people a gift of a gift card, you can make these and hang them on the tree with their names on it. So this is one of our little Christmas tree mats. Isn't it cute? Really, really simple. It's just basically a circle. It's double-sided, and I've just put the trim around it to make it look like it's got tinsel on it. And it's how you fold it, which are in the instructions, that it turns into, let me see if I can do this, the little Christmas tree. Pretty simple. So let me take you through how we make these. Using your Aussie Quick Quilt strip cutter, I'm just going to do one in just plain colours so you can see. I've got a width of fabric. Now, unless otherwise stated, all of my instructions when I say cut a strip is the width of the fabric. So I'm going to fold it in half. And as you can see, I've got the selvages up here. So in half and half again, just so I can see that it's level. Line it up on one of the lines. Pop your strip cutter down. Lay it in. And cut it 17.5. That gives you a perfectly accurate strip. We're then going to turn it around. Fold it in half again. And cut another 17.5, which gives you the squares. Perfect size that you need. So I'm going to do this one. I've already cut a green square and a red square. Fold it in half. Just give it a finger press and in half again. Many of you have used your multi-cutter before. If not, here's a really simple one to do. I'm going to line up each line, and as you all know, if not, you will now, the multi-cutter has a little circle on it, a little circle point. That circle point reminds me that I'm going to be cutting the circles. So I'm going to pop that circle point in the corner, line up each line. To make the larger napkins, you cut at the 8.5. To make the smaller napkins, so your place card holders, etc., or your gift card holder, you only need them small. So do cut only a 13.5-inch strip. That's actually not in the instructions. I will add that in later on. So it's a 13.5-inch strip, cross-cut into a 13.5-inch square and use the 6.5. But for the napkins, we're going to use the 8.5. Blade in, straight round. That's one perfect circle. Do the same for your other color. I like to make them 2 different colors because it actually just adds a little bit of zhuzh when you have them on the table. Now, when you're embellishing them, girls, remember that they are napkins, so they do need to be washable. I made some and went to all elaborate lengths of putting all this fancy stuff on them, but then couldn't wash them. So I gave them to my sister. Was that a good idea? So now I've just cut 2 easy circles. Everyone with me so far? Excellent. Through the magic of television, here's one I prepared earlier. All I've done is run a 1/4 inch seam. There's no need for pinning and carrying on. You know that I certainly am not a pin princess. Once you pop the 2 of them together on top of each other, give them a press and it will actually make them stick enough together so that you can run your 1/4 inch seam around the outside. Remembering to leave yourself a little handhold because you've got to be able to turn it in the right way. Now, here's a little trick for turning these inside out. You can, if you want to, where are we? There we go. Snip all the way around here in about centimetre lots, but you really don't have to. Turn it in the right way. Then I like to just run my finger. You probably won't be able to see it, but I run my fingers along that seam all the way around. And that makes it roll out. So literally stick your hand inside and press that seam out with your fingers or push that seam out with your fingers. Then with your iron, simply run around the outside, rolling it out. Remembering if you're doing a set of 6, you cut them all first, sit down at the sewing machine, quickly whip round each one, then take it to the iron, rather than jumping up and down in between each one. Just going to finish that off. Now, when you get back to your little gap here, simply turn it under a 1/4 inch. Press one side down. Turn in the other side. Press it down to match. Then you can run a 1/4 inch seam all the way around, or just a second, I'll grab this one. Oh, as I've done with this one, I just simply added a little bit of lace trim to make it look like tinsel and just done the edge stitching. Very, very simple to do. They take no time at all. If you use some really pretty fabrics, obviously that's just kind of like a boring little one. But if you use fabrics like this, and on your instructions, it shows you how to fold them. So I've just left the little piece here, fold it back down, and then just give him a wiggle and fold it back. And you have a perfect little Christmas tree. I've just done 6 different ones, different colours. What a beautiful Christmas present for anyone. It takes absolutely no time to do. For this little card holder one, I've simply popped a little pocket on the inside. I've made the 6.5 inch circle and made that, put a fancy stitch around it and attached a little ribbon so you can hang it on the Christmas tree. And here it is all folded up. Isn't that cute? It's much nicer than just a boring old gift card. You can hang it on the tree, put people's names on it, do whatever you like, but they're really, really simple to do. So let's unmute and have a quick chat about that one. Does anyone have any questions?
Just a comment to all of you that happen to be dressmakers like me and are tempted to sit there and clip the outer edge of all those circles. Don't. I did the rings quilt. How many circles are in a rings quilt?
A bazillion, yeah.
A lot. A bazillion rings. The first I don't know, half dozen. I went round, snip, 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 the little dressmaker brain going, I must clip this circle to get it to sit flat. And you cannot tell the difference between the ones I clipped and the ones I didn't, because it's such a tiny seam allowance, it just flattens. So if you're tempted to sit there and waste your time doing all those little notches, like that's what I learned in college. You always notch an external circle. So don't bother. It's a 1/4 inch seam and it will flatten out unless you've got some really thick, crazy fabric. I would just leave it.
Thank you. So in other words, listen to Leanne. All right, so that's that one. That's nice and simple. If you have no more questions on that one, I'm just going to do something really, really simple for you. I haven't finished sewing them yet because I just want to show you. Some of you have been in the class with me when I do the hexagons, but some haven't. So when you do a hexagon, taking your triangle ruler, now some of you, because we have so many new people today, I'm just going to show you this. I've stripped 3 pieces together, pretty simple, press them out. If they don't want to sit straight, because remember, not everything is cut straight, unless you cut them on your strip cutter, like if you've actually bought a pre-bought packet of jelly roll type thing, it may not be straight. So just give it a tug until it straightens. Using your triangle ruler, I don't know if some of you haven't seen this before, up, Leanne should put her glasses on, move along, and as you're cutting the next one, you don't actually have to turn your board or anything else. You simply move it along, line it up in the corners again, and cut. And you get 2 for the price of 1. So you're going along and cutting all of these out. Now, once you've done those, you can simply take them and make all different designs. So these are just all the cut up pieces that I just did. As you can see, this is how it was. Dark light, dark light. I'm just turning them around. Match your seams. Make that half. Matching your seams. Make this half. Then join the 2 together. So you have it like this. You can make one side this color, make exactly the same on the other side. So like the same shape on the other side, a different color. So they're reversible. And you don't need to do any fancy backings or anything else. You can, but I find if you've got this and then you've done, say, a blue, green, purple, or whatever your color theme is this year, you can simply flip them over, cut your piece of pellin or your batting to suit, and then quickly bind them using our back binding method or our mitered binding method. Now, most of you know all of our binding videos, all of our helpful hints and tips are on our website, which is www.aussiequickquilt.com, tips and freebies page. So we also have mitered binding, single-handed basting video, and all sorts of things. So as I'm referring to them, you can go back later on and watch them. But does that give you a couple of ideas, girls, on what you can do for very simple Christmas placemats? You can make them solid colors. Like you can just cut a 6.5 inch strip and cut that up and make it, say, red, green, red, green, red, green. There's lots and lots of things you can do with this one. But I find the 3 strips, doing it this way, just gives you a little bit different, a little bit jazzy. You haven't got the instructions for those. I'll put those up later on. I just thought of that as we were racing over here, but really simple to do. And that's using your safety ruler, your 60-degree safety ruler. Does anyone have any questions on that?
Hello.
Hello.
If we don't have that triangle cutter, can we still use a strip cutter board to cut that? Is there a 60-degree on that strip cutter board?
There is, but it's much easier. One of these. Yeah. We use this for everything.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that. Yeah. I haven't seen it before.
We have 6 different safety rulers now. So I'll just quickly run through those just to make sure that everybody's got what they need. There's the multi-cutter. We use this for like drunkard's paths, double wedding rings, any circles. It's really, really handy. We kind of use that in most of our kits that we do. We have the 60-degree triangle cutter, which is great for your hexagons, Aussie blocks, all the different things we do with that. So we have the short safety ruler. It's got the slot in the middle. So when you're trimming up, when you're trying to do you're cross-cutting things, which I'm about to do I'll be demonstrating that in a moment. But then we have the long one of those as well for trimming the sides of your quilt. Instead of pushing against it and it does this all the time, you line it up along the side of your quilt, and because it's got the slot down the middle, it doesn't move. So you don't go off in the never never. We also have the mini one. That's something a bit new. We have our circle cutter, which cuts circles everywhere from 4-inch radius up to a 23-inch radius. And we also have our brand new 45-degree square off ruler, which I'm just doing videos for that. Sorry, I got stuck in Hawaii. So yes, I know that was fun. But we're just doing videos for this one as well. So everyone was, when we're in New Zealand, everyone was saying, oh, have you got a 45 degree? Well, finally, Ralph acquiesced and made the 45, but we haven't got that up online yet. So they're all of our safety rulers. Everybody's skill level is different. And if you're not up to or not game enough to try some of the harder ones, I still want you to have a go at some of the easier fun things to do. So this little placemat here is simply 4 strips put together. It is cut in 11.5-inch piece out of the center of it, quickly popped the same color around the outside, and then we use the back binding method to make that. You can make those in all different colors. So yes, Sue Cook loves the back binding method, but can you see how even, like, I guess novice quilters, little kids, get them sewing, grab the grandkids, get them in and start sewing. How lovely for them to be able to make something for someone else. You can make those in no time flat. And I've simply used the same fabric on the back. I've folded over to the front and used the back binding method. This is our Christmas table center. You can also use it for popping the Christmas tree on if you've got a little tree. Some of you have done this part of it. Do you recognize that from Coffee Break? Those who did the Coffee Break quilt with me? So I've just modified that to make this one. So just trying to get it all in the screen. It's 32 inches across. And I honestly put the whole thing together yesterday in what, less than an hour? That was with designing it, cutting it, making all the instructions. The whole idea of what I'm trying to show you is this doesn't even need to be just Christmas. If you've got a lovely round table and you want something to put on it, you can make one of these in your favorite colors. And I've just put a plain red backing on it. You can do back binding, you can do the mitered binding, either or. So once again, using your strip cutter, you need 1 10.5-inch of your background. You can jazz it up as much as you like. I'm just going to cut 1 10.5-inch strip. Lining it up on one of the lines again. And a half, and then simply take your safety ruler. Now that's double, remembering that's double. We're going to cross cut from corner to corner. Now here's what I was saying about the safety rulers, Sue. Normally when you're trying to cross cut, you're pushing against it here, and doesn't matter what you do, it moves that way, or you're not pushing hard enough and you go off in the never never. So you would be doing it like this. This safety ruler has a slot straight down the middle. So I'm putting my blade in the teardrop, and now it's downward pressure. It doesn't move. You simply turn it around, reposition your body, And now you have perfect point-to-point triangles. Even though it's folded up, it is actually perfect point-to-point. So you need 2 sets of 3 colors. So 2 greens, 2 reds, 2 whites for this purpose, and just strip piece them. And as you can see, I've staggered it here. I'm lining it up. Now, mark your board. I mark it here at the 0. Can you see everyone see that? Come across here to the 9 and put a little mark here so I know where I'm aiming at. Go up to my 6.5. Now on your 6.5, you've got the 45 degree already. So you know this is your spot. And then I come across to the 15.5. That is all written down, and put a little line there so I know where I'm aiming. Does that make sense to everybody? We're cutting it on this angle. If you've got your instructions in front of you, for those of you who don't, I'll just show you this. Can you see how I've done 0? That's your 6.5 there, 9 and 15.5. You don't need to draw the lines. That's where we're going to be cutting, but I just wanted you to see how we were going to cut it. Simply strip piece both sets of these. Press them out, bring them to your cutting board, lay them down, aiming at the point at this that you drew your little line, and you're going to cut. You can go forward, you can go back, doesn't really matter. Making sure it's still straight. And cut again. So I've just lined up the spots on the ruler and cut. Many of you have done that in our coffee break quilt. If you haven't, you need 8 of those. Simple so far? Now with your 10.5-inch triangles, you leave an overhang at one end because you want to, when you stitch it out, it needs to be flat. It needs to be straight. The long side of the triangle, but when you get to the end here, when you're putting it on, leave yourself a 1/4 inch overhang because once it folds out, that line needs to be straight. Does that make sense? Most people forget to leave the overhang. Then as you stitch it down, this is what the other side will look like. You will actually have about 1/2 inch because we want the star to float. My star is floating, and the way we get the floating, you can cut it right back to here, but I designed this one so that the star would float. This is where I've stitched. I've got the overhang down here and the large overhang that side. It's about 1/2 inch. Set your seam, then simply press it away. And as you'll see, this side is now level with the strip, and we're going to come back and trim this one off. So using your safety ruler, you're just simply going to cut that one off. And then you're going to add the other long triangle down this side. Overhang each 1/4 inch, stitch it down, and then all, pretending that I've just stitched that, all of your pieces will now look like that. It looks a bit funny, but then that's how you get these points. Can you see that? So that's what I've stitched. You need 8 of those. And then this is how this goes. So I always put, let me fold it this way. As your instructions say, put 4 together so that no Aussie quick quilt has a Y seam, whether it's our Lone Star, whether it's the coffee break. If I'm doing a center medallion, there is not one of my quilts has a Y seam. I can't imagine why anyone would want a Y seam or would teach a Y seam. They are nightmares. Simply join 2, matching your point, and of course your center point will match. So we're doing basically putting those 2 together. Does that make sense? And make 4 of those, and then put 2 together to make this, and then matching your center point, put the whole thing together. That's really very, very simple. In fact, once we're finished here, I'm actually going to go and whip a couple more up because I actually want Christmas presents. They take no time to do. That's fine. That's your center. Now, following your instructions, you can use batting, you can use pellin, you can use whatever you like, but it does need something to give it a little bit of oomph. This one I've actually used pellin in. Cut yourself a 32-inch strip of your fabric, cut that into a 32-inch square. Then, depending on whether you want to use the mitered binding or back binding, if you're going to do mitered binding, simply lay your backing down, batting on top, this on top. Follow our single basting video on our website and baste that with 101 quilt basting spray. You all know my drill. Please don't use anything else because I can't guarantee it'll work. 101's the way to go. Not only just because we sell it, but it's darn good. Use that, spray it all. All I've done for quilting is straight through every line through here. And then I've just gone around the star. Once you've quilted it, trim it evenly all the way around. Join your 3 pieces of binding together and follow our mitered binding video. The only difference is this is a 60-degree corner rather than the 45. Normally, when you do a mitered binding, it's a 90-degree corner. This way, you fold it to the right and then you fold it along this border. I will actually do a little video later on to show you exactly how to do this one. If you are going to, and then you finish it up exactly the same way as you do with a proper mitered binding. If you're going to do the back binding method, it's really very simple. Follow my instructions there, but you baste your quilt top to your batting, trim evenly around, baste that onto your backing, quilt it, and then leave an inch of your backing all the way around. You then fold it and fold it again and stitch. It's really easy. I prefer binding it the mitered way. Some of you prefer to do it the back binding way. The videos are on the website, but it is really very simple to achieve that in a very short space of time. The other one that we do is the Emily braid quilt. So this is the Emily braid. You've actually got the instructions for that in Dropbox already. Emily designed this one. You've probably seen the same braid pattern a lot of times in a lot of different ways, but Em simplified it because she was like 13 or 14 at the time and said, Mum, no one can understand those instructions. So my beautiful daughter simplified it. You can do this as a placemat. You can simply cut it smaller. You can do it as your table runner. You can do it in Christmas colours. You can do it in non-Christmas colours. As a little bonus, we've popped those instructions. They were for Australian patchwork and quilting, and it's one of Emily's first forays into writing instructions. So they are lots and lots of colour photos. Have a little look at those. And if you have any questions once you've read them, you were saying about the corners, Angela, it's exactly the same binding because it's got a proper corner and then it's got the 60-degree. So it really is very handy to have a little practice at a couple of different bindings. So you might prefer the mitered binding, you might prefer the back binding, but that was a little added bonus that we popped up in your instructions this morning. We will be adding to that link, so please don't throw that link away or delete it. Julie, did you have something to say, love?
I did. I wanted to say thank you very much for today. It's been wonderful.
You're very
Each
welcome.
video I ever watch of yours, I always learn something or many things. So thank you very much for taking the time.
Yeah.
And I'll ring you about the rulers.
Lovely. Thank you so much for joining us. I love these sessions. I love the joy I can see on your faces. And when you send me all your things that you've made, it just makes me really, really happy. So I get just as much out of it as you guys do. I just love it. And it's always an absolute pleasure, even if I had to wear a Christmas hat today. But thank you all for joining us. I do hope you all have a Merry Christmas and lots of blessings with your family and enjoy. And if we don't catch up before, we'll catch you in the new year.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Leanne.
Thank you,
Thank
Leanne.
you.
Thank you.
Bye
Merry
now. So
Christmas to
happy.
you.
Can you
Yeah.
hang
Thank
on
you.
to?
Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas,
Everyone.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.